So, there's another new Enstars unit now? Again, I really like making subpar PowerPoints, so I'm giving a bad uni lecture on the new unit. Bear with. Basically, if you haven't been keeping up with the recent developments, a new unit was just revealed called MELLOW DEAR US, spelled in all caps. Like with Special for Princess, reactions have been varied. I'm basically making this video just to talk about the new unit. So, MELLOW DEAR US weren't really released out of the blue. We have heard about them before. We knew that they were produced by Nice Arnab Thunder and that they were particularly popular overseas. Additionally, we already knew a character by name, with that character being Nozomi Madoka, whose name was dropped in VS Audience, where we learned that Izumi was essentially snubbed for a modelling job in favour of Nozomi. Can I just say, I told you all that Nice Arnab Thunder was plotting something. At the start of the new Megasphere arc, we met a new character called Chitase Suzura, a producer character working for Thunderbolt Entertainment. Cool, so he's another NPC, right? Like Kitsugi? Wrong. Chitase is actually a member of MELLOW DEAR US, and he's gone undercover. So you might be wondering, if MELLOW DEAR US is so popular, then how did no one recognise him? Surely out of everyone in the cast, Aira, the character known for being an idol fanatic, should have been able to recognise him, especially since he's used his real name and not an alias. Well, no one recognised him because he dyed his hair. I swear that changing your hair colour doesn't change your facial features, but I guess it does in Enstars. Apparently, Chitase was famous for having gold hair, and by him dyeing it, it meant that no one could recognise him, not even Aira. I don't know. Anyway, MELLOW DEAR US are going to appear in the next tour event, so get ready, I guess. So, who are MELLOW DEAR US? I'm basically just going to give my thoughts on the unit and the characters here. To start it all off, there's a clear contrast between Special for Princess and MELLOW DEAR US, in that the ages of the characters are basically complete opposites. When Special for Princess plus Ibiki were first revealed for the 9th anniversary, a lot of fans were off-put by just how young they are. I mean, 3 of the 5 new characters were even too young to attend Umamusume, as they were 15 or under. I mean, Kana was 12. So this time, with MELLOW DEAR US, the new characters are all grown men. They're all in their 20s and most are in their mid-20s. They're older than Rinne. These guys are unks. Where I am personally in terms of age preferences for new characters and Enstars is kind of in the middle. I definitely prefer older characters to outrageously young ones like Kana, but I feel like if Happy Elements are set on building up the roster even more, then they should probably focus on adding more high school aged characters that can attend the school. Actually, I haven't been keeping up with the school. What's the situation with the schools? Did they all merge or are they still all separate? Anyway, now that we've had yet another year jump, basically 2/3 of the cast no longer attend school, which I think is kinda sad. Like, the entire story of the first era took place in Umamusume, and yet now we're not even talking about it at all. I don't know, I realise that it's not the story's main focus at the moment, but still, I feel like they could add some new Umamusume students, more so first and second years, so that we could have a next generation kind of thing. For example, now that ES has become more powerful and influential, then I think it would be nice to see how they would work with new fledgling units in Umamusume, especially since Alkaloid actually ended up working out, and they were basically the beta test for this. That's my take. It might be a horrible take, but that's what I think. Anyway, back to MELLOW DEAR US. MELLOW DEAR US are marketed as an international idol unit, and in my eyes, this is basically Enstars' answer to Cat's Eye. I don't know too much about Cat's Eye. I know the first names of all the members, their more popular songs, the fact that they collabed with Monster High, and the fact that they all went through some survival show in order to become Cat's Eye. Oh yeah, and the fact that they're marketed as an international unit. So I think there is definitely a similarity to MELLOW DEAR US here. I even asked my friend who is more knowledgeable about Cat's Eye and also just K-pop as a whole, and he said that one of the main appeals of Cat's Eye is their more mature aesthetic, which I think can also be said about MELLOW DEAR US. I think it's more possible to accomplish with them as well because they're all adults, so it's not as dodgy as having a bunch of teenagers using the same aesthetic. Though I have seen a lot of people referring to MELLOW DEAR US as We Have Eden at Home, which, yeah, I mean, back in the day in 2017, Eden was sold to us as this hot, edgy unit, and I think that's what they're also kind of going for with MELLOW DEAR US. Mind you, I think they are more mature than Eden and not as edgy, but they do feel somewhat similar with their sexy/mature vibe. They also have a similar style of music with an EDM sound that's also a little edgy. The only thing I can think of that really sets the two apart is their concepts. Eden's concept is, well, the Garden of Eden, innit? And so they use a lot of religious imagery, and meanwhile MELLOW DEAR US their concept is chocolate. Their concept is quite literally stated to be chocolate. I remember watching their unit introduction video where the transitions between each of the characters was melting chocolate, and I was like, damn, chocolate? Is that their theme? And it is. I'm not really sure what they can do with that. Chocolate seems like such an odd thing to base your unit's theme around, but I'll see where they're gonna take this. All of the characters are based on a chocolate-based dessert, so I'll finally talk about the characters now. So the first character and leader of MELLOW DEAR US is Ruiz Kojika. I'll admit that I did use Google Translate to figure out how to pronounce his name. Apparently it's Spanish. Anyway, the moment this guy was revealed, he was immediately bullied by the fandom. Why? Because he has bright green hair. People basically started calling him the WhatsApp guy, and some people even called him Jacksepticeye, which is crazy. Now that the unit outfits have been revealed, people have softened up towards him, so the bullying isn't that bad anymore, but it's still a bit bad. He's meant to be based on a torte, I don't know, which is a multi-layered cake. He's 21 to 22 years old, and his hobby is visiting cafes. His specialty is apparently singing and dancing for a long time, which, I mean, I hope he's good at it since he is an idol. Moving on. The next is one that we've already talked about, being Nozomi Madoka. He's the youngest in the group, being 20 to 21. Man, I'm turning 21. Maybe I already have turned 21 by the time I finish this video. Anyway, he's meant to be based on Ganache. I mean, I love a good Ganache. I think he's really pretty. What can I say? I love long-haired characters. His personality seems really, strange. He's stated to be intimidating and queen-like and speaks archaically. Close enough. Welcome back, orfevre. Anyway, his hobbies are really, interesting. He has 3, actually. The first is nail art, which is normal. His other 2 are dissecting and demolishing. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's meant to mean. I think he's meant to be the more edgy one of the unit. I personally feel as though they're trying to do Nagisa again, but whilst Nagisa seems edgy at first, but is actually really sweet in person, this guy might not be? I don't know, but I'm scared. His voice actor is actually Akito from Project Sekai, which is kind of funny since we've just had a collab with them. Anyway, the next guy is Mashu Kwon, who's meant to be based on Fløboller, which is, it's Danish. Apparently it's a chocolate-covered marshmallow with a biscuity base, which sounds nice. He's 23 to 24 years old and has a background in the circus, so probably a circus performer. Man, where was he when Fine hosted their circus? Anyway, he's got a bit of an influencer thing going on since he likes to use hashtags, and he's also just a cheerful guy. His hobbies are also just posting on social media. His specialty is memorizing choreography in one go, so Abby Lee Miller would love him. Also, I don't really know if that's a specialty per se. I feel like a specialty is a unique skill that the characters have that would be separate from them being idols. Like, Wataru's specialty is his many tricks that he can do, like vocal mimicry, magic tricks, and disguises. Chiaki's is stunts, Nagisa's is acting, and Mayoi's is finding secret passageways and also being good at detailed handiwork. Like, they're all arguably separate things from just being a good idol. I feel like being able to memorize choreography is just being a really good idol, but not really a special skill that makes Mashu unique compared to the others. I mean, other characters have been known to do the exact same thing. Eiichi even does this in Circus since he's able to recreate things that he's watched. Actually, this is quite literally Eiichi's specialty, which is skill imitation alongside chess, which again is completely separate from being a very good idol. Also, I feel like they're starting to run out of hairstyles that they can give their characters. Both Mashu and Hui's have undercuts. I mean, that's Arashi's thing, okay? Moving on, and our last member of MELLOW DEAR US is none other than Chitase Tsuzura. We've already spoken about him, so I'll keep it brief. He's meant to be based on brownies, and he's the oldest member of the unit, being 24 to 25 years old. His hobbies are bird watching and watching anime, and his specialty is simple tasks and starting conversations. Again, can you call that a specialty? Honestly, I just can't get over the fact that he's meant to be a member of the most popular unit internationally, and yet none of the also very popular idols in the megasphere recognised him, not even the token idol fanatic. I know he's dyed his hair, but I really don't think hair dye is that powerful. Right, so before I get to the songs, I want to bring up this character art of them all wearing America-themed outfits, which... oh god. The actual unit outfits are quite nice, in my opinion. They're chic and classy. I can't lie, they are very nice. Song time! So, MELLOW DEAR US have 2 songs right off the bat. They even got a Masterpiece MV for one of them. The first one, and the one with the Masterpiece MV, is Dear World, and it's okay. I actually love the Masterpiece MVs. I think the animation and cinematography are always pretty good. I'm just waiting impatiently for a Fine one, and hopefully the song will be a Wataru Center as well. So I like the MV for this song, and I think all the characters sound good. I just think that the song itself is kind of mid. It's alright, it's got a catchy chorus, and I feel like it could grow on me, but overall, it's giving a Eurovision non-qualifier. As for the second song, called Mellow Addiction, I think it's much better. Again, I've seen some people saying that the EDM instrumental is too similar to Eden, but I like this style, so I can't fault it. I can't lie, I actually really like this song. It says their unit name quite a few times, so it serves as a great introductory song to MELLOW DEAR US. They should have given the Masterpiece MV to this song instead of Dear World. I think it sounds a bit more modern than Eden's typical sound, which is a nice plus, and shows that Happy Elements are at least trying to keep up with modern music, but I'm basically the worst person to talk about this since I still really love 2010s EDM and pop. That's why I absolutely ate up Eden's latest song, Enka No Refraction, even though it does sound like an old 2010s Vocaloid song. Again though, with Mellow Addiction, I think it's made it more likely to me that they are aiming for a K-pop-like unit with the colour coding. Well, no, it's not really colour coding, is it? But they're telling you who's singing what in the lyric video. I think this helps to get you more familiar with their voices so it's easier to recognise them. I actually think that's a good idea. Anyway, the vocals are all nice, so yeah, I actually like it. But I couldn't help but feel as though the introduction sounded oddly familiar to me. It took me a good few minutes to try and figure out where I had heard such a similar tune to this before, and then I realised that it kind of sounds like the introduction to Bara Bara Bastu by Kai. What do you think? I think it does. I think it sounds really similar. I even sent a video to my friends and they said it sounds similar. Anyway, moving on. So now we have the songs out of the way, let's talk about what people have been saying. A lot of people are actually pretty frustrated that MELLOW DEAR US have just been introduced and they've already been given a Masterpiece MV, whilst many of the older units haven't got one yet. I can't lie, I kind of have to agree. I mean, we got a list of units that were in line to get a Masterpiece MV, I think it was in the 10th anniversary livestream, and the only unit that they've given one to so far in this list is 2 Ink. Am I salty that Fine were in the list and they haven't had theirs yet? Of course I am. You guys know me. I feel like if they were going to go down the route of giving the new units a Masterpiece MV, then they should have also given one to Special for Princess. I don't know how Esprit didn't get one, even though there was so much hype built for their reveal. And now these guys suddenly have one. I don't hate that they got a Masterpiece MV, but I feel like Happy Elements could have utilised these MVs a little more. Also, I think they chose the wrong song for MELLOW DEAR US. Mellow Addiction just serves as a better introduction, so I feel like giving that song a proper music video would have been better than Dear World. So that's basically all I have to say for now. I'm interested to see where they'll go with MELLOW DEAR US. I think they are planning on making them playable characters since they have visuals for the 10th anniversary. Is it Dream Live or a Starry Stage? I don't know. But we got some new key visuals for whatever event they're hosting, and MELLOW DEAR US are also there. I see why some people have an issue with new characters being added since it could cause older characters to be kind of left behind in the narrative. But I personally don't have an issue with franchises that have a large roster. It took me less than 2 weeks to learn the names of all 130-ish playable characters in Umamusume. I'm just good with putting names to faces. However, even though I find Nozomi very aesthetically pleasing, I'm not too interested in MELLOW DEAR US as characters. The same really goes for Special for Princess, but with an exception for Riker since I think he's really cute and he's basically become my Enstars son. I haven't really had a Riker moment with MELLOW DEAR US, but maybe that'll change if I eventually learn more about Nozomi and his personality starts to click for me. I like 50% of their songs, that being 1 out of the 2. If they ever do release more songs, then I hope that they lean more towards Mellow Addiction and less towards Dear World. But that's just my personal taste. Anyway, that's all. That's all for now. If this video was mediocre enough for you, then please remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!